Finally, he declared Princess Agatha as his chosen bride. Both held hands romantically to meet His Royal Majesty, King Oliver, for the final presentation. As they moved a little further, Princess Agatha, who had been holding in a fart, suddenly released it. Its echo was like thunder, and its deadly odor scared the gathering. The king, his guards, and the members of his cabinet took to their heels, fleeing the scene in a desperate attempt to escape the overpowering odor. All the guests and everyone present sought refuge from the noxious smell. How it began. Everyone had gathered at the palace, eagerly awaiting the birth of the king's child. In the land of Abbassity, it is a time-honored tradition that whenever the queen is giving birth, the villagers must assemble at the palace until the midwife announces the birth of the child. Hopes are high, and everyone prays fervently for the arrival of a healthy child. The palace was adorned with colorful banners and flowers, reflecting the hopes and prayers of the people. Musicians were on standby, ready to play joyful tunes at a moment's notice. The royal guards stood at attention, their faces a mix of tension and excitement, ready to relay the news to the farthest reaches of the kingdom. After hours that felt like an eternity, the doors of the delivery room burst open. The midwife ran out with excitement, her face flushed with joy as she announced the birth of the long-awaited child, Agatha. There was a collective gasp, followed by an eruption of jubilation in the land as Queen Amelia finally gave birth to a living child for the first time after having 10 stillbirths. The air was filled with cheers and the sound of bells ringing as everyone celebrated the arrival of the new princess. The musicians began to play, filling the palace with triumphant melodies. People hugged each other, tears of joy streaming down their faces. A grand feast was swiftly arranged, with tables laden with the finest foods and drinks to honor the new princess. As the celebration continued, Queen Amelia danced gracefully with her newborn daughter in her arms, basking in the joy of motherhood. Settling onto a couch at the center of the crowd, she watched as the villagers danced around her, their laughter and music filling the air. Suddenly, a loud and unmistakable fart pierced through the jubilant atmosphere, followed by a pungent odor that quickly spread. Queen Amelia's heart raced with embarrassment and disbelief. She glanced around, her cheeks flushing crimson, trying to maintain her composure amidst the chaos. For a moment, she was tempted to drop her child on the floor or flee from the scene, but her maternal instincts kicked in. Despite the shock and embarrassment, she held on to Princess Agatha tightly, her mind racing with worrying. As murmurs and whispers spread through the crowd, some began to cast judgment, suggesting that whoever was responsible should have excused themselves. Slowly, the mood of the celebration shifted, and one by one, people started to discreetly leave, unable to bear the unpleasant odor. Queen Amelia, torn between maternal concern and social decorum, decided to keep the truth to herself. She knew that revealing that it was her newborn daughter who had caused the disruption would only invite further embarrassment and scrutiny. With a heavy heart, she remained seated, trying to salvage what was left of the celebration, even as the kiosk vendors began to pack up their goods, unable to withstand the stench. Throughout the ordeal, Queen Amelia resolved to protect her daughter at all costs, even if it meant bearing the brunt of the embarrassment herself. As the last of the guests departed, she held Princess Agatha close, whispering words of reassurance and love, determined to shield her from any harm or judgment, no matter the circumstances. Weeks later, as Queen Amelia was dressing Princess Agatha, the embarrassing situation repeated itself as the baby let out another echoing fart, filling the room with its unmistakable odor. This time, however, the king was present, along with his cabinet, conducting an important meeting. The foul smell disrupted the meeting, causing discomfort among the attendees, and one by one, the cabinet members began to excuse themselves, unable to tolerate the stench. The king, alarmed and embarrassed, called for Queen Amelia to explain the situation. With a heavy heart, Queen Amelia recounted the events of the celebration day, when she first noticed the peculiar occurrence. She confessed her fear of alarming the king and the court, hence her decision to remain silent. Concerned for his daughter's well-being, the king swiftly summoned the chief priest to investigate the matter. After careful examination, the chief priest prescribed herbs to be administered to Princess Agatha daily, hoping to alleviate the issue. Despite months passing and the diligent administration of the prescribed herbs, the strange echoed fart persisted, much to the frustration and bewilderment of the royal court. The king and queen grew increasingly worried about their daughter's condition and the implications it might have for her future. The palace became a hub of whispered gossip and speculation, with rumors spreading far and wide about the mysterious ailment afflicting the royal family. Despite their efforts to maintain secrecy, the embarrassing situation became the subject of palace intrigue and public scrutiny. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the king and queen remained steadfast in their determination to find a solution to their daughter's unusual affliction, hoping against hope for a miraculous cure that would bring an end to their humiliation and restore their daughter's health and dignity. As Princess Agatha grew older, her radiant beauty and captivating smile continued to win the hearts of many in the kingdom. However, her recurring issue with uncontrollable and unfortunately timed farts cast a shadow over her otherwise enchanting presence. Despite her parents' efforts to maintain a sense of normalcy, the incidents became more frequent and increasingly embarrassing. One day, while laughing as she was playing local game with her peers, a particularly potent fart echoed through the air, driving all her friends away in disgust. With a heavy heart, Agatha returned to the palace, her spirits crushed by the rejection of her companions. Concerned for her daughter's well-being, Queen Amelia pressed Agatha for an explanation, but the princess remained tight-lipped, unwilling to burden her mother with the shame and humiliation she endured. As the years passed, Agatha's condition only worsened, and the once beloved princess found herself ostracized and ridiculed by the very people who once adored her. The whispers and laughter followed her wherever she went, casting a dark cloud over her once bright existence. And as the echoes of her unfortunate affliction continued to haunt her, the once glorious princess found herself trapped in a prison of shame and isolation, longing for a reprieve that seemed forever out of reach. In her solitude, Agatha discovered an exceptional talent for cooking, and as she delved deeper into her newfound talent, she found solace and purpose in the kitchen, where she could escape the judgmental eyes of the outside world. Her culinary creations became her refuge, a source of comfort and joy in a life marred by ridicule and shame. However, as Agatha's love for cooking grew, so too did her appetite. Consumed by her passion for food, she began to eat at increasingly frequent intervals, indulging in elaborate meals and decadent treats. With each bite, she found temporary respite from the harsh realities of her existence, but it came at a cost. Over time, Agatha's once slender figure ballooned into an extraordinary size, drawing even more scorn and ridicule from the villagers who now mocked her for both her unfortunate affliction and her burgeoning obesity. Despite her efforts to find refuge in the kitchen, Agatha's struggles followed her even there. The overpowering odor of her echoing farts became a constant reminder of her affliction, driving away anyone who dared to come too close. Her guards, chef and servants learned to recognize the signs, knowing that an open window or door signaled yet another expulsion of foul air from the princess. With practiced efficiency, they would evacuate the area, leaving Agatha alone in her shame, As the cycle of isolation and self-loathing continued, Agatha found herself trapped in a prison of her own making, longing for acceptance and understanding, but unable to break free from the chains of her affliction. And so, she remained alone in her room, surrounded by the remnants of her culinary creations, her only companions the echoes of her own despair. As Princess Agatha grew into a marriageable age, her predicament kept potential suitors at bay. The villagers, well aware of her affliction, avoided her, and her isolation from social gatherings prevented her from meeting anyone new. Her parents watched in distress as her peers married off, leaving Agatha increasingly lonely and despondent. Over time, Agatha learned to understand her body better, gaining an uncanny ability to sense when her mysterious farts were imminent. Despite this newfound control, the stigma attached to her condition persisted, leaving her isolated and without prospects for marriage. Determined to secure a future for his daughter, King Obed decided to take matters into his own hands. He called a meeting with his cabinet and proposed an extraordinary offer. Anyone whose son married Princess Agatha would be made a crown prince. The chiefs, however, responded with frowns and silence, fully aware that no one would willingly accept such an arrangement. Upon returning home, Chief Williams relayed the king's offer to his son. The boy's mother, overhearing the conversation, rushed out of her room, shouting, "Abomination! My son would never marry a cursed princess. God forbid! We are not interested in the royal seat. My son must marry a good woman." Chief Williams, laughing, assured his family that he had only shared the king's message out of obligation and had no intention of accepting it. They all laughed at the king's desperate situation. Similar scenes unfolded in the homes of other chiefs. Each reported back to the king with the same negative response. Their sons would decide whom to marry when they were ready, and would not be coerced into marrying Princess Agatha. The king was left bitter and disheartened by the unanimous rejection. With each passing day, Agatha's isolation deepened. The king and queen, though heartbroken, continued to search for a solution. They consulted healers, sought the wisdom of sages, and even explored mystical remedies, all in vain. Agatha, aware of her parents' efforts and the kingdom's disdain, retreated further into herself, her once bright spirit dimmed by sorrow. But Agatha's dream of meeting new faces from another community came to fulfillment when the crown prince of Attiti Kingdom, Prince Oscar, the only son of His Royal Majesty King Oliver, returned to the country with the aim of choosing a bride from his people. Desiring to marry the most beautiful maiden, Prince Oscar received full support from his father, who used his veto power to ensure the process was thorough and fair. King Oliver sent a strict message to all the kings of the 8 villages under his rule, instructing them to gather all their maidens at the Attiti city field in the next to market days for a 3-day maidens competition and fashion parade. The purpose was to allow Prince Oscar to choose the best among them, and the message included a stern warning that any maiden who failed to attend would be banished. When King Obed received the message, he became worried for Princess Agatha because of the potential embarrassment her presence could cause. He knew that the High King's instructions had to be obeyed, yet he feared the mockery and shame that might follow if Agatha attended the event. He tried influencing the High King decision, but His Royal Highness King Oliver didn't give him the deserved audience. Despite his reservations, King Obed shared the news with Queen Amelia and Princess Agatha. Agatha was so excited about the news and determined to enjoy herself at the event. While she resolved to be sensitive to her body and planned to run far from the gathering whenever she sensed the onset of her echoed farts to avoid embarrassing herself and jeopardizing her dream of finding new friends. She saw this as an opportunity to break free from her isolation and possibly find someone who would accept her for who she was. With the mindset that she had everything under control, she eagerly looked forward to the event. The occasion was quite grand, with dancing and cooking competitions. Agatha asked if she could participate in the cooking competition without joining the dancing competition, but the event organizers said no, that she must compete in both skills. She was discouraged because she had never tried to dance before and was sure she was not a good dancer. However, she decided to register for the competition with the mindset that even if she lost in dancing, she would definitely excel in cooking, thus showcasing her talent. As the day of the competition approached, her mother, Queen Amelia, worked tirelessly to prepare her. She chose the finest garments, adorned with intricate embroidery and jewels, hoping to highlight her exceptional beauty, and reminded her that it was an opportunity to show the world her true self. Agatha practiced diligently. She spent hours perfecting her recipes and tried out new recipes as well, determined to win the cooking competition. She even attempted some basic dance steps with the help of one of her maids in the palace, although with much less enthusiasm. She also practiced walking gracefully and carrying herself with poise, determined to make a positive impression, despite her affliction. On the first day of the event, maidens from all over the 8 villages gathered at the grand field in Atiti. The air was filled with excitement and nervous anticipation. Agatha, dressed in a beautiful gown, stood among them, her heart pounding. She had never seen so many people in one place, and the vibrant colors and festive atmosphere were almost overwhelming. The competition began with the fashion parade. One by one, the maidens walked gracefully across the stage, showcasing their beauty and elegance. When it was Agatha's turn, she walked with a quiet confidence, her beauty undeniable despite her size. Whispers of her stunning looks spread through the crowd, catching the attention of Prince Oscar. Next came the dancing competition, scheduled for the second day. All the maidens were asked to go to their camp for relaxation in preparation for the next day. One of the maidens from Abbassiti, named Dorothy, was jealous of Agatha's beautiful appearance and her charisma during the fashion parade, and was afraid she might win the competition. Determined to kill Agatha's self-confidence, Dorothy started spreading the news of her mysterious echoed farts to the other maidens in the camp, and they all began to make fun of her. Some maidens from other villages even approached Agatha, begging her to release one of her mysterious farts so they could hear and smell it. Agatha felt devastated by the news of her farts being unveiled to all the maidens, but she encouraged herself not to lose focus on her dreams. She reminded herself of her goal, to participate fully and showcase her talents despite the mockery. When the bell rang for the dancing competition, all the dancers were to perform simultaneously on the stage. Agatha took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage majestically, full of confidence. As the music began, she started to dance. The other maidens watched her in mockery, smirking and whispering based on the information they had about her fart. However, Agatha remained focused, her big body to the beat with determination. Despite not being a skilled dancer, Agatha's movements were filled with sincerity and effort. She swayed to the rhythm, her heart in every step. The audience could see her genuine attempt and determination to shine. Surprisingly, Agatha danced better than everyone expected. Her performance, though simple, had a unique charm that captivated the onlookers. She moved with grace and a rhythm that belied her lack of formal training and earned polite applause. As soon as the dance ended, Agatha felt the upcoming fart and hurriedly left for a lonely place far from the gathering. She moved quickly, ensuring she was out of sight and earshot before the dreaded moment arrived. In a secluded corner, she let it out, the echoing sound and horrible odor confirming her worst fears. Agatha stayed there for a while, waiting for the odor to dissipate from her body before returning to the gathering. She used the time to calm her nerves and refocus, reminding herself of her goals and the next competition she was about to face. Once she felt confident the smell was gone, she made her way back to the field. Upon her return, she was met with polite applause and encouraging smiles, unaware that her absence had been noted but not questioned. She took her place among the other maidens, ready to move forward with renewed determination. The cooking competition was next, and all the competitors left for a change of clothes. Agatha knew this was her moment to truly shine. The bell rang for the final segment, which was the cooking competition, and all the competitors moved to their spots. Dorothy gave Agatha eye contact to show the intensity of her hatred for her, but Agatha's smile displayed her self-confidence. Agatha had prepared to showcase her culinary skills with the same courage and confidence she had shown on the dance stage. Agatha chose to prepare her favorite dish, a savory stew filled with aromatic herbs and spices that she had perfected over the years. As the competition commenced, the field was filled with the enticing aromas of various dishes being prepared. Agatha worked with precision and passion, her confidence growing with each step. She added her special blend of herbs, carefully selected to enhance the flavors and showcase her culinary expertise. When it was time for the judges to taste her creation, Agatha presented her dish with a flourish. The savory stew, steaming and fragrant, was a testament to her exceptional skills. The judges took their first bites, and their eyes widened with delight. The flavors were perfectly balanced, rich, and tantalizing. The audience watched in anticipation as the judges conferred with each other, their expressions of amazement clear. When they finally stood up, they announced Agatha's dish the best they had ever tasted. She received a standing ovation, and the applause echoed through the field. Prince Oscar stepped forward to address the crowd. He praised all the maidens for their efforts, but highlighted Agatha's remarkable journey. He spoke of her beauty, talent, and the strength she had shown throughout the competition. Finally, he invited Princess Agatha to the podium and declared her his chosen bride, as he said, "You are everything I want in a woman. I'm in love with your personality." Both held hands romantically to meet His Royal Majesty, King Oliver, for the final presentation. As they moved towards the high table, everyone, including His Royal Majesty, marveled at her beauty and grace, and the atmosphere was filled with joy and anticipation. Princess Agatha, who had been holding in a fart, suddenly released it. Its echo was like thunder, resonated through the air, startling everyone present. A hush fell over the crowd as they tried to comprehend what had just happened. The king's guards were immediately on high alert, scanning the area for any signs of danger. The unexpected sound had disrupted the solemnity of the occasion, causing a wave of confusion and unease. Within moments, the dreadful odor began to spread. The crowd, initially frozen in shock, started to react. Whispers and murmurs grew louder as the pungent smell reached everyone, causing eyes to water and faces to contort in discomfort. His Royal Majesty, along with the members of his cabinet, exchanged bewildered glances before instinctively covering their noses. The stench was unbearable, and it quickly became clear that they couldn't remain in the vicinity. Without further hesitation, the king, his guards, and the members of his cabinet took to their heels, fleeing the scene in a desperate attempt to escape the overpowering odor. The guests, seeing the royal party's reaction, followed suit. Panic spread as people scrambled to get away, creating a chaotic scene. Women lifted their dresses to run faster, men pushed through the crowd, and children were carried by their parents as everyone sought refuge from the noxious smell. Amid the pandemonium, Prince Asker remained by Agatha's side. He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, signaling his unwavering support. "Stay calm," Asker whispered to her, his voice steady. "We'll get through this together." Agatha, overwhelmed with shame, removed her hand from his and left in tears. Asker got confused on what to do. He moved quietly to the palace and locked himself in his room. King Oliver felt his pain and consoled him with kind words, suggesting he pick another beautiful maiden, but Asker felt a unique and special connection with Agatha. He told his father that he would do whatever it took to marry her. The news of what happened spread quickly through all the villages, confirming King Obet's fears about his daughter. Queen Emilia asked the king if they would continue to watch this situation until it swallowed up their only child. They remembered how much they had spent seeking a solution, none of which had worked. Princess Agatha hid in a small bush near the village, waiting for nightfall to avoid being mocked by passers-by. Upon returning home, Agatha locked herself in her room, her heart heavy with sorrow and frustration. She thought of how much Prince Asker had seemed to adore her, and how her condition had embarrassed her in public yet again. Sobbing profusely, she recounted how her affliction had cost her good friends and opportunities for happiness. Memories from her childhood flooded her mind. She recalled being 5 years old, playing hide-and-seek with her peers. The game was filled with laughter and excitement until her echoed fart ruined everything. The other children's parents, fearing their children might be cursed like her, forbade them from playing with her again. Agatha's thoughts then turned to another painful memory from when she was 12. She had been playing with friends who genuinely liked her, and she cherished those moments. But during the most exciting part of their game, her echoed fart struck, its odour so unbearable that her friends called her names and distanced themselves from her from that day onward. Tears streamed down her face as she lamented how no one wanted to marry her. She had hoped that the competition in Attiti would be her chance to find love and acceptance, but even that slipped away at the last minute due to her condition. Overwhelmed with emotion, she cried out, "Why, God, why can't I be happy just once?" Exhausted from crying, Agatha eventually fell asleep, her dreams filled with the pain of her past and the faint hope of a brighter future. Deeply concerned, Queen Emilia decided to seek help again, this time from the kingdom's wisest sage, Master Ildwin, who lived in a mystical forest on the outskirts of Abbassiti. The next day, Queen Emilia and Princess Agatha embarked on a journey to find Master Ildwin. After days of travel, they reached his secluded abode. The wise old sage listened intently to their plight and examined Agatha. After a moment of contemplation, he said, "Congratulations, Queen Emilia. You would have remained barren if not for Agatha, who is a special child fortified with unusual power. She saved herself and you. The stillbirths you experienced were not ordinary. It was a woman who decided to punish you by killing your children." Queen Emilia reacted with fear. "Oh, wise one, who could that be?" Agatha, equally scared, asked, "Who was the person?" Master Ildwin continued, "When the king was younger, he promised marriage to a maiden named Amber. She believed in his promise and saw herself as his future wife. She often visited his home, helping his mother with chores and bringing firewood. Years later, when they were close to marriageable age, the king's mother's friend begged her to allow their children to marry to seal their friendship. Despite the king's refusal, the two mothers prevailed, leading to your marriage to him, and a year later, he became the king of Abbassiti. Amber tried to move on with her life after his marriage to you, but when he was crowned king, she became enraged and decided to exact her revenge. Her conclusion was to make him barren and ensure that if you ever got pregnant, you would never give birth to a living child, and she threw the spell calabash into the stream and watched it disappear. Agatha's unusual power saved her and allowed her to be born alive. Her power is the ability to command the wind at will for the benefit of herself and others. However, Amber's curse twisted this gift into the form of a smelly, echoed fart. Queen Amelia gasped, her face pale with shock. "How can we break this curse, wise one?" Agatha looked determined despite her fear. There must be a way to reverse it. Master Ildwin nodded thoughtfully. There is a way, but it requires great courage and sacrifice. Then he said, Princess Agatha possesses a rare gift that connects her to the magical winds that govern our world. However, she must learn to control this power. He explained that if she could master this power, it would bring fortune and prosperity to the land, as gold, silver, and diamond would answer to its command. She could also create gentle breezes and summon delightful fragrances at will. Master Ildwin gave them a special amulet and a series of exercises to help Agatha harness her abilities. He told Agatha that the mysterious fart would automatically stop immediately she activated her gift, but it would return when she stopped being a blessing to people. Upon returning home, King Obed told Agatha that Prince Oscar had come to check on her. Agatha decided not to pursue a romantic relationship until she had overcome her challenges and focused entirely on mastering her power. With diligent practice, Agatha began to gain control over her peculiar power, and in no time, she had amassed plenty of silver, gold, and diamonds and started blessing the less privileged in the village. The villagers no longer feared her uncontrollable farts, but instead marveled at the sweet-scented breezes she could summon at will. All the men from her village and beyond wanted to be her husband, not only for her beauty, but also for her wealth and kindness. Meanwhile, Chief Williams had been observing the situation and saw an opportunity, so he sent his wife to talk to Queen Amelia secretly out a marriage proposal. She expressed that his son had fallen deeply in love with Princess Agatha and wished to marry her. She pleaded with Queen Amelia to discuss the matter with King Obed, emphasizing that a husband is the beauty of every woman. Queen Amelia, also concerned about Agatha's future, brought the proposal to the king. However, King Obed reacted with anger. He summoned Chief Williams to the palace and sternly addressed him. "My daughter will decide whom she wishes to marry. Whenever she is ready," King Oscar declared. "You will not discuss her future with anyone, and I warn you to respect her autonomy." Chief Williams, taken aback by the king's fierce protectiveness, bowed and left the palace. One fateful day, as Princess Agatha was strolling around the village, she was approached by Dorothy, the same maiden who had spread rumors about her mysterious fart at the competition in Attity. Dorothy was accompanied by her older sister, and both looked desperate and distressed. "Please, Princess Agatha," Dorothy begged, tears in her eyes. "Our father is very ill, and the village doctor refuses to treat him unless we can pay at least half of the bill up front. We have no money left." Agatha remembered the humiliation Dorothy had caused her during the competition. However, seeing the genuine desperation and remorse in Dorothy's eyes, she was compelled by mercy. Both sisters were profusely begging for her help, and despite the past, Agatha's kind heart couldn't turn them away. Agatha followed them to the village health center, paid the full bill, and even gave Dorothy some extra money for upkeep. Dorothy, buried in shame for her past actions, asked for Agatha's forgiveness. "I am deeply sorry for how I treated you, Princess Agatha," Dorothy said, her voice trembling. "I was cruel and thoughtless. Please forgive me." Agatha smiled gently and replied, "We all make mistakes, Dorothy. It's how we learn from them that truly matters. I forgive you." As Prince Oscar returned to the country, he decided to check on Agatha. He had heard of her transformation and was even more in awe of her. His father, the king, promised to give him full support. Asker approached Agatha, his eyes filled with admiration. "Princess Agatha," he said, "your strength and kindness have only deepened my love for you. I see now that your gift is a blessing to our people and a sign of your true beauty." Agatha smiled, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you, Prince Asker. I've learned to embrace my gift and use it for good." Prince Asker knelt down in front of her, in the public, and said, "Please marry me." Agatha said, "It would be a great honor for me to be your wife. Yes, I will marry you." Asker took her hand, his eyes shining with joy. "Nothing would make me happier. Together, we will bring prosperity and joy to our kingdoms." As both kingdoms were busy preparing for their wedding ceremony. One day, a severe drought threatened the kingdom's crops. Agatha knew this was her moment. She focused all her energy and called upon her power to bring rain to the parched land. As the skies darkened and rain began to fall, the villagers cheered and praised Agatha for saving their harvest. The villagers danced round the village rejoicing and appreciating Agatha. As the months passed, the kingdom of Abasati flourished under Agatha's influence. The fields were lush, the rivers ran clear, and the people prospered. Agatha used her powers to bring gentle rains and refreshing breezes, ensuring bountiful harvests and comfortable living conditions for all. In a grand ceremony, Prince Asker and Princess Agatha were married, their union celebrated by the entire kingdom. The festivities lasted 4 days, with music, dancing, and feasting. People from neighboring lands came to witness the joyous event, bringing gifts and well wishes for the couple. During the wedding feast, Agatha demonstrated her control over her powers by creating a magical display of fragrant blossoms and twinkling lights that danced in the evening sky. The crowd gasped in awe, and Asker looked at her with pride and love. Agatha leaned in close to Prince Asker and whispered, "Watch this." With a playful smile, she demonstrated her newfound control over her body, transforming from her balloon stature to a beautiful, slim bride. Asker's eyes widened in astonishment and delight. "You're incredible," he said, lifting her up and twirling her around. The crowd cheered, witnessing the magical transformation. As he set her down, she returned to her larger size and laughed. "I can be whoever I want to be," she said. "Just tell me, and I'll change." Their wedding day became a legendary tale in the kingdom of Abasati, a story of love, acceptance, and the extraordinary power of being true to oneself. In the years that followed, Agatha and Asker ruled their kingdoms with wisdom and compassion, and together, they ensured that their realms remained peaceful and prosperous. They had children who inherited their mother's magical abilities and their father's sense of justice. Agatha's tale became a legend, passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that even what seems like a curse can be a powerful gift when embraced with courage and kindness. The Wind Princess, as she was fondly known, left an indelible mark on the hearts of her people. What are the moral lessons you got from this story? Please share it with us in the comments section.
Thanks for watching. May God bless you. I love you all.